Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back to your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto. So let's just dive in and let's start off with the overall price action within the market right now. So I'm recording this a little bit earlier on in the day, prior to the FOMC meeting and also prior to the stock market opening. But so far, still things are looking pretty good. We still have strong gains within the market, but I am concerned about today's price action simply because of the FOMC meeting. Full transparency, I did post a tweet over on Twitter earlier, and I said retail is being told lies right now, that their bank accounts are safe, depositors will be covered, and all is sunny in the world of finance. Truth is that the Fed is at a very scary point in time where either the decision to pause or raise rates will ultimately lead to systemic chaos. And again, best case scenario for all of crypto is that the Fed does pause rates, because remember, most of this push up from this point here was the bank collapse and everyone expecting the Fed to pause rates. But now, today, we actually get to see if that is going to be the case or not, meaning what we could see is either a full-on rejection here, which would be, again, this is on the total, right? This is a total market cap. If we see a rejection here, this is the same rejection point that we seen back in August before the total, and I'm not doing this for fear-mongering or anything like that, but this was when we did see a massive 40% drawback on the total market cap. Now, I'm not expecting us to see that, but I do think that we will see a significant pullback, and I do think that we could come back down to around the 618 zone here, which would be a full pullback of about roughly 17%. But after this, I do believe that we will eventually break out of this area up here. It's going to take a little bit of time. We might actually retest a little bit in between the 786 and this high before eventually, breaking out. And I do expect this zone up here to be tested, and then we'll have probably a pullback back to major resistance to I wouldn't even say major resistance, probably like the $1.3 trillion level, build a floor there, build support, and have higher continuation. But I'm still watching all of this closely, because even Bitcoin, right? We were addressing Bitcoin throughout the week, and what I was looking at was this level up here between the 1272 and the 1414, which we basically tapped already almost. We didn't exactly hit it just yet, but we're pretty close. We're already almost there. I know that a lot of people were also focused on the 1618. Anything between the 1414 and the 1618 is also a good sign. But all of this up here is practically resistance. Like, all of this is a big level for Bitcoin to get back over, because once we do get back over this, like, psychological levels are essentially broken, and we will go to $40,000 on Bitcoin. But there's going to be a lot of, what if scenarios up here where we do come back down. Maybe we go a little bit higher, tap the 1618, and then come back down to like 25.2K, or maybe we just reject here and go down to 25.2K or 25.3K, anywhere within that range, and then we have that higher continuation. What I'm expecting on, if we do get 25 BPS, which is what they're basically saying, then yes, we will have that pullback back down to 25.3K. And if this level is lost, this is going to be a big level for us to lose. If this level is lost, then we will most likely come back down to 22.7K. Which, again, this would be the scariest case scenario, because if we do come back down to this is like about a 20% pullback on Bitcoin, with Bitcoin dominance sitting at about like 46%, so most altcoins will get slaughtered in that time. But today, the FOMC meeting is at, so it starts at 1 p.m. This is with commercial paper, and then at 2 p.m. itself is the FOMC meeting. And this is when we do see, a few things on the market. Jerome Powell is going to be talking about it, and then we also do see 4:15 p.m. selected interest rates. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens, but also at the end of the month, we do have the GDP report coming out. So very interesting select days going forward on, but today definitely is the big day on what happens in the market. It could either crash the party or start the party, because, hey, if we do get that significant break above all of these levels, first off, this is a 20% pump just to the 1618. If we clear this and go to 40K plus, then you're looking at almost a 50% increase on Bitcoin, and this will essentially start the party. And we will most likely, like I've been talking about, this $100,000 level up here. It's a psychological level mostly, but I'm definitely looking at somewhere up there in the range if we do have a major Wave 5 expansion on Bitcoin. But with all that in mind, let's take a look at a few things. So, one, do I believe that the Fed is going to rate hikes? If he does, I will say this. We will see bank collapses much larger than what we recently seen. Either scenario is bullish for crypto, but at what cost? I always say. Um, I think that confidence around the banking and the financial sector is diminishing greatly. I also think that a lot of people are looking at other investment opportunities than the dollar. I think that there's a lot of fear around the DXY, which, by the way, I have been looking at the DXY quite a bit. There was two scenarios that I was looking at, and both of them are down. So we're still watching the dollar closely as we do kind of just range here. But like I said, confidence around fiat systems, the banking system, the financial system, it's diminishing greatly, which means a lot of people are most likely going to rush to put their money into other things like crypto, for an example. I think that this is very bullish. But like I said, at what cost? Because, again, a lot of people have been asking me like what my exit plan is. XRP, for an example, XRP is a rough run, a rough one, because I do think that the run up on XRP could be much larger than what anyone anticipates. I have a bag of XRP that I will sell and take profit from, but I also have a bag of XRP that I will hold for, the next 5, 10, who knows how many years, right? I think that XRP is one of those assets that, not everyone should be selling their full stack of. It's definitely a major opportunity in my opinion, but we do see here the Federal Reserve can look past low liquidity in the treasuries market and continue with its rate hikes. This is from strategists at JP Morgan. There's basically no liquidity here. The worst liquidity crisis since 2020, essentially. So what do you think is going to happen, right? And they are saying that we're seeing 25 BPS. 25 BPS is on, the agenda. And we do see here the Federal Reserve is expected to increase interest rates by a quarter point Wednesday, even with concerns about stress in the banking system. 25 BPS is enough to put enough stress on the banking system to cause systemic chaos. That's why I made this tweet, because I do think that we are about to see something much larger than what anyone can anticipate around the banking sector. They also do say the central bank is also expected to release projections about the economy and the path of rate hikes, though some economists say it may have a difficult time making those forecasts due to uncertainty. Investors are also looking for assurances from the Fed that the issues with regional banks will be contained. I highly doubt that this is going to be the case. Right now, major bank stocks, I told you guys to keep a close eye out on them. They are bouncing back. We are seeing 5, 6, 9% gains on the one-day span. But problem is that it doesn't matter if these are gaining value in terms of stocks. There's still major issues there. There's still the same 186 banks that have the same issues that SVB had. But also, right? For example, First Republic Bank, it got halted 9 times in one day as it fell almost 45%. This was on the 20th. This is a major bank. 9 times in one day it got halted. That is ridiculous. And also, $20 billion worth of its market cap was erased in 1 month alone. So we're still watching these closely. Although, yeah, sure, on the one-day span, they look great. Is this just a relief rally in the banking sector before a much larger collapse? And will it be the Fed that induces it? It could very well be. And we do see over here, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says the economy is performing very well.
And take an economy that is performing very well. We've had the fastest recovery from a downturn that we've ever seen, and the fastest recovery of any nation around the globe. The unemployment rate is near a 50-year low. The economy is doing well.
So the economy is doing very well. It's a great economy. Let me ask you all out there. Do you honestly believe this nonsense? I don't even know if she believes it. Comment down below what you guys think, because the economy, from my perspective, is not performing well at all. In fact, I think we're at this point in time where we know we're getting lied to. We know what they're saying is nonsense, and we know that there is a much larger storm brewing, and it's going to wake a lot of people up, and it's going to surprise a lot of people as well. You know, most out there are not awake. They're still walking around with their eyes closed, saying, "Oh, everything's all good, everything's all fine." Those are going to be the people that get wiped out completely on this next collapse. You see over here, Treasury Secretary Yellen is defending the government's intervention in the financial system and suggesting it could provide further guarantees of deposits if the banking crisis worsens. This is from CNBC. Listen closely to this.
Janet Yellen set to give remarks to the American Bankers Association. Kayla Tausche joins us right now with a preview. Kayla, good morning.
Good morning, Becky. Secretary Yellen's remarks today will defend the government's intervention in the financial system 3 years after the COVID pandemic began and 15 years after the global financial crisis. Secretary Yellen is expected to reaffirm that the rescue last week was meant to shore up the entire system, saying, quote, "The steps we took were not focused on aiding specific banks or classes of banks. Our intervention was necessary to protect the broader U.S. banking system, and, importantly, similar actions could be warranted if smaller institutions suffer deposit runs that pose the risk of contagion." Treasury is suggesting that deposits at other banks could also be fully insured above $250,000 if there's an exception granted because that bank poses a systemic risk. Washington is currently weighing whether to permanently raise the threshold on how much is insured in a given account, but a White House official tells me a decision is not imminent there. In the meantime, the Treasury Secretary will describe the situation as stabilizing, with deposit outflows slowing in speed and volume, despite the uncertainty surrounding regional banks. Western Alliance Bancorp and PacWest up in pre-market trading after another day of red yesterday, all led today by First Republic, which is up sharply, with reports that banks led by JP Morgan Chase are undergoing new efforts to strengthen the bank. I'm told by sources familiar with the matter, Becky, that the talks led by JP Morgan are focused more on longer-term contingency planning, separate from the sale process that is happening in the meantime. Becky.
So yeah, it seems like they want to bail out these banks if the crisis worsens, but the thing is that you also have to understand that as liquidity is drying up, which it is at the lowest point since 2020, how are they going to solve this banking crisis if it gets to the point of 2008, for an example, or even worse? They can't. This system is going to fail. And I do believe that's by design as well. And history is already rhyming, right? I keep saying it's not going to repeat, it's going to rhyme. Over here, March 2008, Bear Stearns trades for $100 a share. Days later, it's bought for $2 a share. March of 2023, Credit Suisse trades for $3 a share. Days later, it's bought for 54 cents a share. History doesn't repeat itself, but it does rhyme. We are at this point in time where we have the Treasury and the Fed. They're all coming around and saying, "Hey, everything's all fine. Don't take your money out of the bank. The banks are healthy. The banks are fine. U.S. capital and liquidity is healthy as well." Like, there's 100% nonsense being spewed. And I want you all to realize this. Over here we have, as we have since a major bank collapse due to bond-related losses due to rising interest rates. Does anyone remember this? Listen closely to what the Fed is saying here.
Simply flooded the system with money.
Yes, we did. That's another way to think about it. We did.
Where does it come from? Do you just print it?
We print it digitally. So we as a central bank, we have the ability to create money digitally, and we do that by buying treasury bills or bonds or other government guaranteed securities, and that actually increases the money supply. We also print actual currency, and we distribute that through the Federal Reserve banks.
So after hearing that 31-second segment there, let me ask you all this. What could possibly go wrong? We print money digitally. Then we buy, bonds, government securities, blah, blah, blah. Like, what could possibly go wrong? And now we have the Treasury And we even have Jerome Powell as well. He just recently said that liquidity and capital is strong in the U.S. If they constantly are going to the lengths to tell you, hey, everything's fine, reassuring you, constantly reassuring you, what do you think happens next? Because I know, and I'm sure all of you also know. That's why today, out of every other day, we need to make sure that we are listening closely to this FOMC meeting. Because this is going to put things into perspective on just how broken things are about to get. And again, either scenario here, pause or raising, it's ultimately leading to systemic chaos. So we should prepare accordingly. So with all that in mind, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys have more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As it's up to you all. Have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. It's been Nick. Peace out, guys.